You tell me, say me kind of that everything's gonna be okay. You are the father to the fatherless, the miracle working God. You make the blind man to see, you made the crippled man to walk. You are the lily of Galilee, you make impossible possible. You tell me, say me kind of that everything's gonna be okay. You are the father to the fatherless, the miracle working
Alvin.
God. You make the blind man to see.
Yes, sir. Yes, okay. And I'm Alvin Jask. One of the blind activists and professionals in Liberia right now. Back in Liberia, visiting with the blind community. You know, we have a lot of people with challenges, different forms of disabilities. Today we've got a special guest visiting with the Christian Association of the Blind. An existing group over the years has done so much helping to rekindle that great effort with respect to giving us the skills we need as physically challenged, especially visually impaired. With me today I have brother and friend from Denmark. Would you just tell us your name and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Jesper Holten. I'm a project manager working with the Danish Association of the Blind. I am totally blind myself, well, I'm 42 years old and I'm married with 2 kids back in Denmark. So yeah, I've been working as a project manager for a little more than a year, and I'm engaged, among other things, with this project with CAP, and have been in country 2 times now.
And what about the blind being accepted in your society in Denmark? Is there any difference with respect to what you hear about maybe Liberia and other countries?
Well, first I think you need to understand that blind people in Denmark has a different age profile due to various reasons. So most blind people in Denmark are usually elderly people. And that of course means that the challenges may be a bit different. They don't need to have access to education and employment for the majority of our members. But of course there are members like me who may be born blind or who become blind at an earlier age, who have the need to access education and to get employment. And I think access to education, it's better in Denmark than here in Liberia, where you have lots of challenges to get access to even primary schooling. You may not have the means or the ability to go to the school for the blind like here at CAP. And even more, you might not have the opportunity to go to further education. If you want to take a college or university degree, that's more difficult here. Whereas in Denmark, that is much easier to obtain, and even a university degree. I have a university in political science myself, and that is not unusual amongst blind people. But getting a job afterward is very much a challenge. It seems that there are lots of wrong perception amongst employers of what blind people can actually do in a job. What is our ability in the job situation? How can we, access technology, things like that? Even though we have the means to access, technology solutions, use computers, and use other devices to assist us in our work. We have that available, but despite of those, advanced assistance, it seems to be that employers still have, misconceptions of what blind people can do, and therefore we don't get employed as much as we ought to be, considering the society that we have.
So how are you fighting those challenges?
Well, we do advocacy. We tell the public, we address employers through various means, dialogue with employers' organizations. We target politicians and say, well, even though we have a welfare system in Denmark that also takes care of visually impaired, we both want to have a job, and there should be the jobs available for visually impaired as well as anybody else. And it's something that we do continuously, and it just seems that we are moving forward. We are making progress, but not as fast as we would like to see it.
More elderly people are blind than the younger folks. Why? You got good medical facilities, so
we have more advanced medical facilities in Denmark than in Africa in general, and certainly here in Liberia especially. But it's also that people, because of better living conditions, get older, and because they then get older, they also have a tendency to get age-related eye diseases, like macular degeneration, for instance, which is an age-related eye disease that is fairly common amongst elderly people, together with cataract, which you know pretty well here in Liberia.
Like glaucoma too.
Glaucoma too, but glaucoma is if you are able to do preventive measures, like going to an ophthalmologist fairly often, you can sometimes, or fairly often, catch the glaucoma before it makes serious damage to the eye. Besides, you sometimes have the option to go through surgery, to eliminate the glaucoma altogether. And therefore, even though you may have glaucoma, you may not necessarily become blind from it. Whereas here in Liberia and elsewhere, because you don't have good access to ophthalmologists, to eye doctors, you don't get those preventative measures, and therefore you end up becoming blind.
Coming to Liberia, your visit, how is it? Impressive? Yes, your visit impressive, and the project you're currently working on?
Well, to be in Liberia, people are very, very friendly. It's really been great to work with the team here at CAP. They're very cooperative, very friendly, and I think we have a very excellent dialogue when it comes to how to plan the project, and also how to execute the problem, which we have been talking about a lot this week. We came last Friday, and we have been participating in membership meetings in 2 of the branches. We are going to 2 other branches tomorrow, and then we have had a series of talks about how to actually go about implementing the project in practice. And I think we have a very cordial and also mutually beneficiary relationship, because I mean, even though we have lots of things to give to CAP, it actually goes both ways, in my opinion. We learn a lot as well. So about how to do advocacy, for instance. I mean, you have good ideas, and you have definitely good connections, and it's something that we actually should envy in Denmark, at least in that. Yeah.
So what's your focus when it comes to new projects with respect to our own society, technology, or just basic advocacy for societal change?
Well, this project focuses mostly on 3 dimensions. We want to develop CAP further. I mean, it's already an organization that's been around for many years, but because of the Civil War, because of the Ebola pandemic you had a couple of years ago, CAP has seen some setbacks, and we want to make CAP a strong organization, to give them the members some training and some skills. We want to give the leadership some good tools, so that they could go out and do fundraising and good advocacy, as well as being good leaders. And we want to offer to at least some of the members some empowerment tools, so that they can get access to further training. It might be income generation, vocational training, maybe even some extra leadership training, and also the capabilities to be able to move around independently, what we call orientation and mobility training,
Yeah.
like using the white cane, and be able to move independently, because that's also something that will give confidence. If you know that you can move on your own steam from point A to point B, then it also gives you some self-assurance that, well, if I can do that, maybe I can also do more.
Okay. If you were to talk to any government official, like in Liberia, with respect to conditions you've already managed to have find out, to have other found out, maybe got to know about, what will you push to politicians?
I would say that they should definitely listen to what CAP is saying, because they know where the problem lies in the blindness community. They're the one having the day-to-day contact with the members to know what challenges they face in their daily life. And when CAP goes out saying that we need to have things improved in these areas, or we see problems with this and this, then not only lending an ear to the voice of CAP, but also taking the problems they're raising seriously. I think that's definitely one thing they can do. Then, of course, the next thing that comes up is how, if it's something that costs money, it can always be an issue. But even in our society in Denmark, where we have more funds available than here in Liberia, that can sometimes be an issue to get things through, because there's always scarcity of financial means, no matter what. But of course, here in Liberia, that is exacerbated drastically.
So finally, what could be the message to Liberian blind community members, to us, to get ourselves empowered, regain our independence, and then maybe find a job?
I think a message to the blindness community of Liberia, well, there's many things I could say, but I would definitely want to say that working together makes you stronger. If you have a collective voice, you can do more than if you do it by yourself. So join up with CAP, be a strong voice in advocacy, learn together, and that way that will also make you stronger, not only as an organization and collectively, but you as a person yourself. So working together makes not only the individual stronger, but the whole group, as a synergy effect that cannot be overlooked.
Coming back to Liberia, we have one person who has been in the vanguard for years when it comes to giving somebody flower, will be Biancota. You've heard from your guests, working together with other members. What has been your latest effort in helping this uniformity in Liberia, so that the one voice can be heard? Because as we speak, there's a core legislative representation. I don't know how far that has gone. Have the blindness community succeeded anyway?
We still have challenges. The members of parliament, or what we call the legislature here, and there are two thoughts. One is that effect a seat for people with disabilities through a referendum by amending the constitution to allow for it, to use the statute on the books. Of course, we've always said whichever way is good. It's even stronger if we have a constitutional amendment through the referendum, because that is something you cannot easily change. We need to reinforce our advocacy and to make to become more assertive, in this push for representation or a seat in the national legislature.
He's calling for one voice. How could that happen with
of course we have always worked through the umbrella of the National Union of Organization of the Disabled, and many of the laws we have succeeded in achieving, many of the legislation came through our collective approach under the umbrella of the National Union of Organization of the Disabled. evidenced by the ratification of the UN Convention, the act establishing the National Commission on Disabilities. That is the way to go. Sometime last year, we put in place a committee with a specific mandate to achieve legislation for 3 seats for people with disabilities. We need to reinforce that and even strengthen our advocacy further and to see to it that we achieve this legislation. And that we can do, and we are committed in doing that under the umbrella of the Union of the Disabled.
Coming to the visit of Jasper and his team, which of course, like you said, they've been working for a couple of years now. What's the impact on CAP so far that you'd like to mention here?
Well, a lot of impact. Actually, we can say sometimes we sit and wonder as to, if we didn't have the Danish, our partnership with the Danish Association of the Blind, we could not have reached this far. We recognize that as a fact. Our partnership with the Danish Association of the Blind ranges from outreach, international outreach, and our activity and active position in the international front have been strongly supported, by the Danish Association of the Blind. Many of the international meetings we have gone to, be it at the level of the African Union of the Blind or the World Blind Union. Many of these meetings were supported by, the Danish Association of the Blind. Our local outreach, the establishment of branches of this organization of CAP was made possible through the support we continue to receive from the Danish Association of the Blind. The branches we have in Bassa, in Tottenburg, Bomi County, in Kakata, Margibi, in Banga, Bong County, some of the support came from the Danish Association of the Blind, and now we even have other, program in place aimed at social empowerment, orientation and mobility. There's a Viking travel skill, all of these, training and the strengthening of the local branch. They are all part of this program for the blind, with the Danish Association of the Blind and the government of Denmark as well, because they too have their partners, the NIDA. They get funding from the NIDA, and through them the funding comes to us for organization, development, empowerment, membership strengthening as well. And so this is how far we have come. The buildings that we have here, the 2 buildings, the dormitory for the girls and the dormitory for the boys, the office setup we have, all of that have been supported, thanks to the Danish Association of the Blind.
So where have you been with your tour, and where do you go next?
We have been to Buchanan. We were in Buchanan on Saturday.
No, Sunday.
Sunday, yes. We were there on Sunday. And that visit was good. The members in Buchanan turned out. We had a good number of blind people, more than 50 blind persons turned out in it. Our next visit is in Banga, and then from Banga we'll come to Kakata, Margibi County. Those are the places we have targeted for this visit.
Thank you so much. Discussing with prominent individuals in society too. They have a life to live. They have the right to everything, like any other individual you might think about in Liberia and the world over. Lying on the fringes of Monrovia, on the outskirts, is the CAP Association of the Blind, a resource center that provides training and of course everything that one needs when it comes to education, especially for the visually impaired. Today, this campus is catering to a number of students. They've gone for break, but visiting with them is a friend, a brother, and of course, and the family pressing from Denmark, Copenhagen, who has come back to Liberia on a couple of occasions looking at developments as they unfold within the blind community. And this has been an Alvin Jask presentation. Thank you so much.
Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be thy name. Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be thy name. Lord, you are the most high. Hallowed be thy name.
You tell me, say me kind of that everything's gonna be okay. You are the father to the fatherless, the miracle working God. You make the blind man to see. You made the crippled man to walk. You are the lily of God.